The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Pit Life BBQ podcast. Join us around the pit as we talk all things barbecue. Now here is your host, Johnnie Mags.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Life BBQ podcast. Coming to you live from the Studio 21 Podcast Café in Salem, New Hampshire. And oh, what a show on many levels. First off, folks, just for full disclosure, we are recording this previous for a later date. And we're doing the first ever Pit Life BBQ two-parter. That's right, two-parter. With our very special guest and dear friend, Mr. Clarence Joseph from Mama and Papa Joe's Barbecue. And just for that special occasion enough, we had to bring in the old boy in here too, my brother.
My dude.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, kid.
Lady. Oh, you hit the microphone.
Good to be back.
Hell yeah, the BBQ Broker.
Good to be back for a couple episodes.
Hell
anyway.
yeah, brother.
You know, just jump in.
Like I said, I talked to
to
CJ to do this and set this up, and I'm like, oh, I got to call Greg. He's got the friendship repertoire with CJ, so it's just going to be great for what we're talking about with your competition experience so far, you know. And
Absolutely.
But let's get right into part one. Mm-hmm. So if we don't say hi to you in the chat, that's why we're pre-recorded. Yeah. So hi, Dutch. Hi, Claudia. Big Rome. Big Salinas boy. Shout out.
Mad Max.
Smitty, Mad Max calling you out.
I don't get a hello today, though, do I?
Hi, Chrissy.
I'm chopped liver compared to our two wonderful gentlemen we have here. Normally it's hi, Chrissy. No, it's fine. Hi,
I
guys.
said hi to you yesterday.
Hi. I know.
All right.
So,
You remember how to do this?
I think so. No,
All right.
no teleprompter needed.
No teleprompter. Let's go. Let's see if he still can do
Get
it.
right into it. You ever wonder why everyone's lining up at Johnny's house, but for some reason they're just not coming to your house? And that reason is because obviously this guy uses Uncle Steve's shake, and apparently you're not, which means one thing. Chrissy.
You better get you some.
Damn straight. Uncle Steve's shake is handmade, uses only the finest ingredients, and comes in still 12 amazing flavors.
Right. 12 amazing flavors. And don't forget the sauce with no name.
The sauce with no name.
I just ran out.
If you can eat it,
If
Uncle
you're
Steve
listening,
has a shake or a sauce for it. And if you have any shake questions, Uncle Steve has fantastic customer service. He'll take you through all your shake needs. It's time to take your backyard game and competition game to that next level with Uncle Steve's Shake. Shake some on everything. UncleSteveShake.com and visit Uncle Steve Shake Nation on the Facebook.
Also brought to you by Two Guys Smoke Shop and TwoGuysCigars.com. Whether we're barbecuing or not, we always keep the smoke rolling thanks to our friends at TwoGuysCigars.com. Today, we are smoking the Toro Fuente Gran Reserva. Thanks to my friends at TwoGuysCigars.com, we get to smoke some of the best cigars in the world, and so can you. Just visit TwoGuysCigars.com for your perfect barbecue companion. That's the number 2GuysCigars.com. Also brought to you by
Backline Fabrication and Backline Smokers out of Austin, Texas. Ryan Newland building some of the best handmade one-off smokers that you're seeing go out. Nothing out of his shop looks the same. Everything is custom, as you know, Miss Mary. As we know, the Night Train. But also builds amazing competition cart offset smokers, and then you have things like the multi-tool, which I believe is now renamed as the Waffle, or is that something different?
No, he's doing a waffle.
Oh, he's doing a waffle.
He's doing a
I thought you said
waffle
you guys renamed
for the multi-tool.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so still the multi-tool, kicking ass out there. Check out Ryan Newland at backlinefabrication.com. This guy is doing amazing stuff. Also on Instagram at backlinefab. Also brought to you by
Magnus Chef Gloves. Our brother Alan Fonte knows something about fire management, being a Miami-Dade firefighter. He thought of everything with these gloves. Food-grade silicone, patented magnetic clips for an easy on and off, heat rated up to 500 degrees, a web fit for firm grip, one size fits all, dishwasher safe. But
if you don't like the web fit.
if you don't like the web fit, in a more of a traditional 5-finger glove, he's got you covered with the new Freedom gloves. The Freedom gloves are your traditional 5-finger neoprene with an extra long gauntlet to protect the forearms. All the same features, magnetic clips for the easy on and off. But these ones are heat rated 932 degrees.
C-Mac's pretty happy about that. 'Cause now
he's legit in the ballpark.
He was in the ballpark now.
Yeah. Check them out at magnuschef.com, and at checkout, use the code FREEDOMLIVE for free 10% off your order. That's FREEDOMLIVE for 10% off your order. MagnaChef gloves, master the fire. Freedom gloves, take a stand, free your hands. Also brought to you by Custom Cutting Boards, RS.com. Ian Hemming out of Magnolia, Texas, is creating what I consider the Yeti of cutting boards. These boards take an absolute beating.
Especially the way I cut.
Especially the way you cut.
A little hard.
Yes, you're like a chainsaw with no teeth. But it goes right through.
It handles it. Yeah.
From the dishwasher board, which is your typical countertop size board, to the absolutely massive 18 by 36 inch brisket board, and then the pizza board for the perfect slice every time. UV coating, the deep reservoir lip to catch all that beautiful goodness.
Deep juice reservoir.
Deep. Ooh. Ooh. I love when he talks like that.
It's been a while since I got a chance to say that.
The patented rubber grips on the bottom, even on a wet surface, the board will not slide on you.
It's good stuff.
Check him out at customcuttingboardsrs.com. That is the letter R, us.com.
And not only do they work great, but they look great.
They look
and
great.
Sometimes stuff that looks great doesn't work great.
No.
And he engraves, custom engraving, I think you mentioned as well. He'll engrave it custom, put your comp team in there or anything like that. So you got to check out Ian. Good stuff.
Ooh.
Hi.
Time.
It's time.
It's time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been racking this one around for a while on what to do wanted to do a 2-part, and it fell in that we had to do a couple episodes. So let's go back to back.
It has to be pre-recorded due to studio time. You don't have the time to do it back-to-back.
Absolutely.
During normal studio hours.
And
Yeah, they kick us out of here.
They do.
after.
there was
Really
a
fast.
lot of comments and emails, through the past couple months on, what do you look for when you're shopping to procure your proteins for your next upcoming competition, or just in general, you're having a big party at the house, what are you looking for in straightness of bones? What are you looking for in chicken, brisket, ribs, pork butts? And, in the competition side, how do you prepare them right? Your trimming process. Do you go too much? Do you do not enough? Is there a certain shapes you see with these guys? And I'm like, that would be a great topic. And I'm
really
like,
breaking down the process.
yeah.
Really breaking
and I'm
it down.
like, who could we get to talk to it? And I thought about it for about a second and a half, which I think was about a half a second too long.
And there's
but
so many great people.
the way my brain goes, I needed the extra half a second.
Yeah.
So we called up Brother CJ, and he was more than happy to jump on for this little excursion. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from Mama and Papa Joe's, Papa Joe himself, Mr. Clarence Joseph. CJ, what's up, brother?
What's up, CJ?
Gentlemen, man, great to see you guys as usual, man. Greg, it's been a little bit. How you doing, buddy?
Good, brother. How you doing, man?
Man, life is good. Life is good. Thanks for the invite, man. I've been looking forward to this for the last couple of days after the call.
Yeah.
Same here.
Like I said, I literally got off the phone with you on Monday, and I called him. I'm like, yo, you got anything? He goes, let's go.
I'm like, ooh, tough week. I look at I'm like, actually, Wednesday's the only day I have nothing on the books, except for take the trash out at 6.
At 6.
And I'll make my 13-year-old twin boys do that. So I actually have nothing to do. So here we are. Good stuff.
So how you been, brother? All right? Obviously, we've been catching up with the videos, but I was, finally able to meet you in person at the pit reveal party I had back in October at Ryan's at Backline Fab, which was great to meet you in person and Miss Alicia.
Dude, that was an absolute blast, man, getting to meet you and the family, getting to check out that awesome offset smoker that Ryan built. And, man, what an awesome build.
Wow.
And just to watch a couple of the cooks you've done on it since has been really, really cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
Yeah, it runs like a dream.
Even in this frigidness that we've been having.
It was crazy. And
you have an insulated. He insulated the firebox, right?
Like he insulated
like
the hell out of it.
Yeah, same.
And like I said, didn't break it out this weekend because actually right now it's actually trapped in the garage. The week before we got 2 feet of snow on Monday, another 10 on Wednesday. Then the deep freeze came, so I literally have 3 feet of ice in front of my garage door, so I can't even get it out.
Which I cooked in last Friday night.
Yes, you did.
Back for a split cook Saturday morning when it was negative 11 with a negative 40 wind chill factor. I'll tell you.
Wow.
Like really, it's almost hard to breathe. You know what I mean? It's so
hurts
cold.
to breathe.
But Ryan insulated my firebox. He told me him and his buddy had to sit on the top so he could weld it.
So he could tack weld it.
Could tack weld it down. He had to sit on it with a buddy to hold it in place because it was fluffed up from all the insulation that he put in there. But it ran great and doesn't really require a ton more wood in this weather. I mean, more wood, but not like a uninsulated, Lang or HPT or something like that.
Not what you would think require. You would need.
Yeah. But hell yeah, this is great to have you back, man. It's great to be back. It's great to see Chrissy over there. This is awesome.
Hi again.
So let's get right down to it. The big question I've been getting a lot lately is when you're looking to get meat for, mainly a lot of them were for competitions. What are you looking for when you go to the different butcher shops or grocery stores? Obviously you can order online through the different, Snake River Farms, companies like that. The meat shop, Kevin down at the meat shop in Florida, and you can even order those pre-trimmed.
But you also go right to Stop and Shop or Market Basket and get some Prairie Fresh ribs and stuff like that, which are very good, that don't require or special order or thighs for that matter. Bell and Evans. You can get some good antibiotic-free stuff. But when it comes to the butts and it comes to the briskets, that's where it gets tricky.
Yep.
And that's where it gets, I think, expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
To get the right product.
So, CJ, when you're looking to cook a comp, what is on your checklist that you're looking for at the different proteins?
Fellas, one of the first things, man, for a competition cook is to try to not settle on meats the week of a competition. And by that, I mean, if you're waiting until the week of a comp to go meat shopping, chances are that you're going to have to settle at some point to get that prep process started. What I always tell anybody that's interested is, shop ahead. I might go to the store for paper towels. I might go to the store for sugar. But while I'm in that store, I'm going to swing past that meat section. While I'm in that meat market, I'm going to swing past that display and just look into what they've got available. I might not have a comp that week, but those are the times when you're going to find those awesome deals. You're going to find that special cut, that special brisket, those 2 special racks of ribs. And man, you just bring those home and tuck them away until the week of a competition. Meanwhile, if you're waiting till that week, man, you're waiting till Tuesday or Wednesday to go out there and try to find a brisket. Man, you don't have that kind of time to now search.
Especially during the prep and the packing stages.
Yeah. at some point, you've just got to say, all right, this is going to be the one. It's not the best, but I don't have time to go searching for anything else. When I was upwards of 30 to 35 cook-offs a year, man, I kept a stash of 7, 8 briskets, 8, 10, 12 racks of ribs, because I was shopping that much and stockpiling them. One of the only meats that I will not buy and freeze is chicken. So chicken, I usually have to head out 2-3 times a week to find whole chickens. I just don't like freezing birds.
Interesting.
And as you get more experience in the comp game, you kind of have an understanding on idea of what you want your product to look like in that box. And once you've decided what you want your product to look like, then you have to go back and figure out, how am I going to trim to get that look? And before you can even trim, you have to have an idea of what type of meat you want to buy, what size. So each cook is going to develop their own set of specs. We all have specifications when we go looking for a particular piece of meat, whether that be brisket, pork butt, ribs, or even chicken. Brisket, man, you're talking about thickness, overall symmetry, width, grain. Ribs, again, thickness. You're looking for straight bones or straight bones, because not very often you're going to find straight bones.
How about the ones where the bones are going like halfway up, and then they got this floppy half of the rib? You're like, what? And I had those 2 racks of those Costco ribs. Last minute, week of. I did it. I settled, and I was behind. I got the Costco ribs. Didn't like them at all, and the bones are like halfway, and you they just bend halfway. I'm like, that sucks. But that's the shit he's talking about. Yeah. That's the settling right there. That's a good example of it. And you want to try to look in the package and feel for those bones if you can, and see if they're going all the way through and if they're straight.
Hey, you know what? When you start talking about a pack of Costco ribs, man, I remember back in the days when they were a 2-pack, and then they've gone now to a 3-pack.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, one of those might be comp worthy. The other 2 are going to remain for the backyard.
Agree.
If you're going to be taking those other 2 to a comp, you're in a pretty bad
I learned that. We didn't do that well on those.
Yeah, with those 3-packs. You can look at the top rack, so it's like, okay, that's nice, decent marble, nice content.
Live and learn.
Flip it over, you can see the bones on the second rack.
Yep.
Okay, not bad. I'll guarantee, I'll make a bet, any type of money.
The middle rack.
that middle rack.
Fuck you up.
That's the snack rack. That's the snack rack.
That's the thin ass.
You're not using nothing on that.
Hidden between the 2. Yeah, that's the bad one. But no, man, that makes a difference.
And those packages got to be giggling when they stick that one in the middle. We're gonna get them with this one.
Yeah. True story. That's it. Oh man. So that's interesting. That a lot of people try always saying fresh this. I've never had any issues with thawing the bigger meats and cooking them. I feel. I mean, first of all, if you order a Snake River Farms, it comes frozen.
Yeah,
every time. So everyone's getting a frozen brisket. But I agree that everything holds well, except for the frozen chicken. For whatever reason, the smaller the meat the proteins get, they don't hold as well, even if they're cryovac or whatnot. I don't think they they do. But the chicken's easier to find anyway, right? You can go to a lot more places and pick up the chicken than you can a prime or Wagyu brisket.
Here in Texas, chickens have really become a problem for comp cooks.
Oh no shit.
Especially those comp cooks that are cooking half chickens.
That's it.
Because the chickens now are all small turkeys. You go to a store, man, you're lucky to find a a 4.5 or a 4.25 or a 4-pound bird nowadays.
Yeah.
Dude, you're looking at all 5 to 7 pound chickens.
It's not going to fit in the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
And they're not
exactly.
going to fit in the box.
What about a Cornish hen? You're allowed to use those.
That is specifically in the rules. No Cornish hens.
That's for IBCA, right?
Yeah. That is IBCA, and I believe that is also CBA.
Okay, because in KCBS, I think you can.
Use the Cornish hen.
I think you can use a Cornish hen. You can't use a turkey, but I believe a Cornish hen passes as chicken. I believe.
Okay.
Because there's no specific rule like in where you have to. Do you have to turn in those half chickens, or could you turn in thighs? Is it like specific in the rules?
With CBA, Champions Barbecue Alliance, the new rule that went into effect in December, you're now allowed to turn in individual pieces or a half chicken.
Oh, you can now. Okay.
Yes, in CBA. In IBCA, it's still half chickens.
I can't remember the exact KCBS rules, but I feel like you can turn in your drums, you can turn in thighs, breasts. I mean, I think you can. I don't see anyone turning in half chickens, but I think you could.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know that you could because
Okay.
each individual judge in KCBS
Oh, yes. Needs to get a piece.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
gets a piece that they can pick up.
Yeah, that's
they can touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's true. And I'm a certified judge for KCBS. I should know that. Although I haven't judged yet. I've done one yet. But I got certified.
Take a refresher course
just to
when
see
you
what's going on. But I'm still new at this. I'm still getting my feet wet. So this is great. This is a conversation
just to brisket for a moment. When you're looking like you said, the size, because you go in there and we all do it. We all look at them and you're looking at the point side and see if there's a drastic taper to the flat, because you can get a real thin flat. So right off the bat, you're losing pretty much half of that flat before you could even get a decent slice out of it.
Comp trims, especially because they're very you trim hard for competition, and with catering, you're still about a 45 to 50% loss from your trim to your cook. So probably even more, actually.
Yeah.
So you have to start, I'm guessing, at least 17 to 19 pound pre-standard to start with, to end up with the product that you want to get nice, big, long slices of flat out of.
And that is where I think I differ with a lot of comp cooks.
Okay.
A particular weight has never been a part of my spec. My specs are pretty much marbling, thickness, width. I could get a 12-pound brisket for a competition. It just means that I'm going to trim less. If it's thick enough, and when I'm talking thickness, I'm usually referring to the flat.
Right.
If it's thick enough in the flat, then it's definitely going to be thick enough in the money section, so to speak. All right, so I can get it. I've prepped 12-pounders. And again, one of the things I always encourage comp cooks, man, is to find a way of measuring your final product after trimming. That way, each time you trim a brisket, each time you trim a rack of ribs, it's going to be approximately the same size. I've got a traveling container. That's what I call it. It's just a Tupperware container. I can't remember the length and the width, but my brisket fits in that container from end to end, side to side, with an inch of space on each side. And that is how it fits every single cook-off. The only time that brisket is going to change weight is based on thickness, which we can't control.
Yeah.
But in terms of width and length, it's going to be the same every single time. And that consistent weight, that consistent size really, really aids in you developing a consistent timing for your overall cook. My cooks rarely vary more than 15, 20 minutes on each side of 6 hours for a brisket. Meanwhile, you go to you see some cooks, man, 1 week they're cooking a 12-pounder. The next week they're cooking a 9. Then it's 15. And of course, there are times all over the place, you know, because again, you're lacking that consistency. And the reason so many cooks trim so aggressively is it shortens your cook time. You know, the majority of competition cooks don't want to be out there 12 hours cooking a brisket.
Yeah.
True story.
So that is the reason for such an aggressive trim. Yeah.
Well, guilty as charged.
So do you? Does it matter to you if you're getting a prime or a wagyu? What's the you know, I know in KCBS I've done a handful, and you know, wagyu, Snake River Farms. I've kind of around here people are gravitating to. Do you like to, you know, you seem more specific where you wouldn't just order any brisket offline because you don't know what's coming to you. I feel like you need to go out and hand pick that brisket, at least at your level. And so what do you gravitate to? Do you think a prime can do just as good in these competitions? Or do you have to do wagyu to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak?
I have done primes in some major competitions and done well with them. Now, when I say a prime in a major competition, I am not talking about your average prime. I'm talking about one of those super primes.
Like the upper 1% to 2%,
one of those prime primes.
I know
you know
what
what
you
I'm saying?
Like the top,
Yeah,
the
so
top
it's
choice
gonna have to
Creekstone
be-
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a special prime. But, you know, Mom and I, we've been to American Royale a couple of 3 times. And for those types of cook-offs, man, we've stepped it up and gone American Wagyu.
Yeah.
Because we understand that the vast majority of cooks at those events are cooking those types of grades of beef. So, yeah, we will. But, man, if you've got you a quality prime and you cook it well, it can definitely compete.
Like one of those,
You know, I often
master
tell
chefs.
people, man, I often tell people if you can't cook a prime well, you're not going to cook a Wagyu well just because it's a Wagyu.
Right.
So learn to cook a prime, and man, if you cook it well, chances are very, very good that you're going to end up doing very well with that piece of meat. Primes get it done.
Yeah.
Have you ever cooked a Master Chef Creekstone? Is that one of those upper primes that you're Master
Yes.
Chef Creekstones? Yeah.
Yes. Matter of fact, we had a meat market
Hard to get. Real hard
right
to get.
outside of San Antonio, man, that used to carry them on the regular.
Those
And
are
I
like,
would drop in there, and like you said, hand pick. Those guys at that meat market would bring out whatever cases they had,
amazing.
and I would go through those cases, man, set 2 or 3 aside.
I mean, you think that
Because
that prime?
there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like hand picking.
There's nothing.
You know, I get what you're saying. I have gone on the phones with I'm not going to name any names, but I've been on the phones with meat markets, man, quality meat markets. They're sending me pictures of the briskets, the marbling and everything is there, the weight and everything is there, and I pay top dollar for this piece of meat, man. When I get it, when it comes in the mail, I'm just extremely disappointed. You know, so I'm just a real firm believer in being able to put my hands on it, especially if I'm going to be paying a premium for this piece of meat.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I want to put my hands on it. Now there are places like the butcher shop. You mentioned that earlier.
Kevin Green down in Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I cooked one of those for Houston. And the only reason I chose to go in that direction is the fact that they deal with so many comp cooks. They will do a rough comp trim for you to get rid of some of that dead weight, so to speak. Ship that piece of meat out to you. They know the specs that the majority of comp cooks are looking for.
Specialty niche. Yep.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And I was just absolutely thrilled with that product when I received it, man.
But that's like having a
Marbling
consultant
thickness.
built into your. That's like having a meat consultant.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
That's
absolutely,
right.
man.
Like a meat, like a
absolutely.
comp meat consultant or
Concierge.
Or
Oh, concierge.
or
We'll
a
go
meat concierge or a meat concierge. A concierge. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. That's great.
And by the end, you know, looking over your right shoulder, you know, we kind of know how that brisket turned out at Houston.
A couple brass, shiny objects over there.
And you know, you talk Houston. I was really, really in love with that finished product, that brisket. The slices look great. And when we got the 2 walks, I really, really felt good. We got those 2 finals. I really felt good because I said, man, this brisket is not going to be very far behind. You know, it wasn't top 10, but I knew it had to be very, very close. And we were 22nd. The brisket was 22nd. When you're talking upwards of almost 300 teams, man.
I think there's 254 teams or something like that. Or even more. Yeah, that's wild. Wow. Yeah, now, in the top 20 walk, I think a top 20 or something is considered like a walk in those big comps, right? Versus a top 10.
You know, different competitions have different standards. Like the American Royale, I believe sometimes they'll do top 25, sometimes they'll do top 20.
Nice.
But Houston only did, I want to say, the top 10.
Okay.
In terms of actual finalists. Houston makes their own rules. They can change at any time.
Yeah. Now, looking at the brisket, where do you stand on what would you call it? The bend test.
Oh, as when it's in the package.
Well, as it's in the package, you know, does that really hold weight for you, or?
I don't pay any attention to it. I don't pay any attention to it. There are going to be times when that bend test is based on how loose that cryovac is.
True.
That brisket is going to flex more. There are going to be times when that brisket has been sitting around, somewhat wet aging in its own juice in that cryovac. It's going to bend a little more. If you find a brisket that you really, really like, I mean, it meets all your specs, and the bend test is what you use to help you choose, and you pass that brisket up because it's not bending the way you want it to, then you've kind of missed out. And again, this goes back to buying when you are not ready for a comp. This is buying when you're finding. There's something that or I'm not going to say many, but some cooks, some comp cooks don't think about wet aging at home. I wet age every brisket I bring home for a competition. I wet age every brisket I come home, regardless of pack date, regardless of what that butcher or that meat market might tell you. When I get home, day 1 starts. I will write the date in a Sharpie on that package as to what day it went in my refrigerator, and I will do 21 to 28 days.
So do you keep it in the original cryovac, or are you trimming it, cryovacking, and then aging it in that?
It is in the original cryovac.
Okay.
And as long as that cryovac is not compromised in any way, that brisket is going to be good to go. There are going to be cooks out there who tell you that they do it for 60 days.
What?
I have never taken one that far.
Well, here's the thing with that date. That is, you know, quote unquote, the FDA, but it's also a guideline. I have gotten so much crap over a few posts of mine of finding some stuff, and everyone looks on the sell by date. That's just a thing. It's really for the customers thing, because they have a mindset. You know, and the grocery store has, you know, a liability of, you know, fresh. You know, you can't have a pack date and it's and it's a month later, even though, like, what we're saying is, as long as it's refrigerated in the original package, you know, no holes, no leaks, not compromised.
Yeah, that's important.
You can wet age it and it's going to stay fine as long as it's in that controlled, cool environment of a refrigerator.
Because I know a couple local comp guys that when they get it, they open it, they trim it, they have a nice cryovac machine, they put it in, cryovac it, and there it sits for the next, you know, week. Usually it's about a week only. They dry age for about a week and a half, and then that's what they take. But it's trimmed and ready to go. Is that still work to do in it that method? Are you still dry aging it, or does it have to be the original juices to to really
You know,
wet age?
I don't know because I've never done it that way.
Okay.
I just know that there's been instances where I've had to trim a brisket and then freeze it. So I'll use my vacuum sealer, trim the brisket, vacuum seal it, and then freeze it.
Okay.
But there's something that occurs in that package that causes the oxidation, and I get the discoloring. I get the discoloring. So
Got it.
I won't trim and then freeze unless I absolutely have to.
You get that brownness,
Now-
that brownness to the redness starts to turn
Yeah,
brown
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Now, if I'm going to trim and then freeze, here's what I do. It's not going to be done for any type of wet aging. It's just going to be done for storage. And I want you guys out there to think about this method. You open up that brisket, you trim it. It's gonna be nice and pink and red and everything like we all want. Leave it in that Tupperware container. Freeze it in that Tupperware container. Then pull it out and vacuum seal it.
Really?
What?
Yeah, there will not be any color loss whatsoever.
Oh, okay. So you preserve it by freezing it.
Yeah, you freeze it and then vacuum seal it. Again, that's not going to help you with wet aging or anything of the sort. Because you mentioned it earlier, I really think that wet aging has to do with in its own juices.
Yes. Okay. That's the key right there. Their own juices.
Yeah, that myoglobin or whatever that liquid is called. That is what it needs to really continue to wet age.
Interesting.
Scientist just came out of CJ. He said myoglobin.
Dude,
This is what I
man,
call
You said myoglobin and shit. No, that's cool. That's amazing info.
Dude, after messing around with 1,000 brisket over the years, man, some of them turning out totally awful and messing them up. You really, really begin to compile the best of the best information, that you've earned over those years. And I feel at this point, man, that is where I am. I've got lots of good info. And even now in my backyard, man, I can't do anything in my backyard without the competition aspects coming into play. I can't trim a backyard brisket without me wanting it to look absolutely perfectly. I've just been sort of corrupted by competition.
Yeah, you get in.
But now you're always
mindset.
practicing. You're always getting a little bit of practice in every time by doing that, so you don't have to go out and practice specifically for competition.
I do it all the time if I'm doing ribs, especially. It's like,
same thing.
What are you gonna do? It's gonna be nice, easy cook. I'm gonna rub them and run them. That's it. Next thing you know, I got the brown sugar out, I got the butter, I got the honey, and I'm boiling and flipping over and doubles. I'm like, I'm doing it again.
In a way, almost
It's muscle. It becomes muscle memory is what it really does.
I kind of do it for my catering ribs in a way. I cut off the little dangler, small bone at the end, and I make everything square. And by doing that and not having that little thin, long piece that kind of flanks out, I can fit more on my smoker doing it that way.
Yeah.
So each and every one of my ribs, I mean, I don't cut off so it's like shorter, like you would cut off a couple on each side, or whatever. But it's trimmed down, and they all cook evenly. That's the key to mass producing food is cooking them. Is having that consistency, and every time you cook the ribs, they're the same look, they cook the same. You cook the brisket, I got 10 of them, 10 briskets, doesn't matter what size, at the end of the day, they're pretty much all the same size, and they're pretty much all gonna cook and come off within an hour of each other if I rotate them and play the game.
Oh yeah. And I look back because the last mass cook that I did in terms of numbers of meat, 16 brisket, trimmed them all. Man, it's close to identical in size as I could get. All of them beautiful. We put them all on the pit, and dude, 16 briskets. They all came off within 5 minutes of each other.
On your Jambo? Not on the Jambo.
No, this wasn't on the Jambo.
No.
We were actually using a pit maker.
Okay.
For a benefit for a friend of mine, we were using a pit maker.
Which is a local pit maker in the Houston area or in Texas, I believe.
Yeah.
They make the cabinet smokers that almost look like The Humphreys, like our Humphreys.
Okay, yeah.
But they have a gap in between the walls, and the smoke goes, I think, in between.
Yeah.
And almost works as a reverse flow cabinet. Am I right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Oh,
learned
that's
about that. Lee
Hickle was
Hickle
cooking for them
cooks
at Houston last year.
100%.
Yeah.
Lee
There you
Hickle
go.
does. Yep.
Yes, correct.
Yep.
But dude, to watch 16 briskets coming off of that pit, man, at the same time, was pretty impressive. And again, man, that's what it's all about when you're starting to talk about cooking for the masses. Trimming everything the same, the same size, same shape. It really, really works.
And kudos to Pitmaster for having not that many hot spots, apparently, in their cabinet smoker.
Yeah.
Because if there was hot spots, did you rotate it all in there, or did you play a little bit of a rotation game?
I don't remember. Yes, we did.
Okay.
We moved some from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, so they drip on each other and even out.
Yeah, we did do that.
Got it.
Yes, we did.
Interesting.
Beautiful. So obviously there's a lot of work into going. You set your criterias for brisket. Obviously set your criterias for all meats, but prepare ahead of time.
Yes.
If you know you have a contest coming up in June, don't go shopping the last week in May. Or that week. Swing by, because we all do it. We do it subconsciously. We were in the grocery store with the missus, and she's looking at some produce, and we sneak off to the side, and we're found in the meat department.
I'm just laughing because the first contest we ever did was the one
in June.
with Matt. With Matt at the Granite State, and we shopped for meat that week, and we showed up with no meat prep. Like, we didn't know we really
allowed to trim.
We show up, and everyone's like, "So, let me see your chicken trim." We're like, "We haven't trimmed chicken yet." What? I don't know.
Come on over. You can watch the whole process.
You haven't trimmed chicken yet? We're like, no. We're gonna do all the prep. It's Friday night. We're gonna do all the prep. We didn't know that was the party night, and that you're supposed to actually drink a lot that night and then get serious the next day. But I'm guilty of that. Showing up late.
So we got the looking for what you're looking for in chicken, what you're looking for in brisket. The Boston butt's kind of the same way. I didn't bring up ribs because ribs, it's gonna kind of fall under the prepping for your thing.
There was more prep. There's actually more prep to the Boston butt than you would lead to imagine, I think, for prep.
And especially with some rule changes that you can cook the money muscle.
Now you can separate the money muscle.
Yeah, so it's getting real
You don't have to leave it dangling off and pull it at 165. You can actually
cut it right.
Cut that shit right off and cook them completely separate now.
But I think that's a great spot to end part one. So we'll do a quick rollout. And CJ, stay right there, and we'll roll right back into part two. So, folks, thank you for tuning in for part one.
So many more questions
of this.
I have.
So what are we covering in part two? Just so
part
we can tease
two,
the people.
we're going to be covering your actual trimming processes. Like I said, we held off on ribs because I wanted to bring up a thing because of like your St. Louis style.
Versus baby back.
Versus baby back versus a full spare. Well, with the full spare, you can get St. Louis style out of that. All depends on how much work you want to do and how much money you want to spend.
So for lack of better understanding, we have just, if you're listening, we have just covered how to choose the best meat for your com.
We've just gone to shopping.
And if you tune in next week, we're going to show you how to prep all that amazing meat for your comp.
Dip into ribs, dip into the pork butt. I want to know what he uses. Are we using Duroc? Does he get the competition Duroc pack?
He uses Uncle Steve Shake.
No, I'm saying for the meats. I want to know what that, and I want to know more about the smokers and his views on drums.
Well, you're going to have to wait till next week.
God damn it.
Or if you're lucky enough because you got an inside, about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Tune in next week for part two with Clarence Joseph, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate yous. Catch the audio wherever podcasts are found. YouTube, hit that subscribe button, notification bell. You got all the episodes right there. All the social media links are down below. Questions or comments, please send them to Pit Life BBQ Podcast at gmail.com. Like always, subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit that share button. And until part two next week, Keep the smoke rolling.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21, Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.